Celia is absent. Councilmember Marks,
Here?
and I am here, and we have one vacancy.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to look over the minutes?
I did, and the good news is I've been to both of those meetings, so as just a council member, not part of that, so.
It looked okay to me too. Number 4, we have A through G. And the first one is staffing, department review, public works, facilities, maintenance.
So,
If you'd like, I can go through it, or.
yeah, do you want to go
why don't you
through
do
it?
that?
So this one, our Department of Public Works Facilities Maintenance crew, they're parks, buildings and grounds is what we used to call them. Our recommendation here is something that would affect our current staffing structure and also would affect, going forward. So I listed, the bulleted points there. Currently we have 10 full-time employees. Actually, it might be easier to look at the color chart on
The
page 7,
current
just to
one.
see how it's structured. So blue rectangles, those are full-time employees.
Mhm.
The green ones are seasonal student workers. So,
Greg, are they seasonal just for the summer? They're
Yeah.
not any other time of year?
right, typically college or high school students.
Yeah.
Summer
Mhm.
break. This year we had 6 of them. There were 4 shown in the budget. The reason we hired more than were budgeted is because we had vacancies with full-time positions. We
Mhm.
needed the help and we had some people available. Right, we had 6 days. And currently, as of today, we have 4 full-time vacancies. One of the working supervisor positions is vacant, and 3 of the maintenance worker positions, as they're shown there, are vacant.
So 3 of these are maintenance or vacant?
Mhm.
So we're stretched thin in that group, for sure. So now the next page, the proposed structure, still 10 full-time employees shown. And this would be something, so going forward, so what we're proposing, the orange rectangle working supervisor, that means it's part-time. So what we'd like to do going forward is to try to recruit and hire a part-time working supervisor that would be working for us from roughly April 1st through the end of October each year. So covering the parks opening and closing and operating season. So we have some extra supervision, just particularly for the parks workers during that time, because this crews kind of split off and do different things depending on the season. In the winter, they're all work together doing different projects, sidewalk maintenance, snow removal, act work, that sort of thing, as well as building projects. So with what we're proposing to be 6 student workers seasonal over the summer, plus the 3 maintenance workers that would be full-time, they would be working underneath the supervision of this part-time worker. Now, we say part-time, they may work, let's say, 20 hours a week for 3 or 4 of those months, like the shoulder at the beginning of the season and the end of the season. But during the summer, for the 3 months or so when our student workers are there, they would probably work more. They might work 40 hours
Okay.
for like up to 120 days is what we're allowed to do based on health insurance requirements and applicable laws. On the other side, the left side, under that working supervisor, we're showing 5 full-time workers, the 2 buildings and grounds workers that we have now, a maintenance worker, and then we'd like to have 2 of what are currently maintenance worker positions upgraded to carpenter. That's a little bit higher pay grade. As the name implies, they have some skills specifically related to carpentry. That's not all they will do. They would still be able to do basically all the things that a maintenance worker can do, but they're also expected to be a little bit more skilled with carpentry. And we would like to recruit at least one of our vacancies to fill with that. So being able to recruit for a carpenter versus a maintenance worker, you're going to get some different types of applicants. I know Dave, you want to talk about our ability to find the types of people we need to do some of our renovation projects.
Would you be able to recruit those 2 carpenter positions with your current staff, or are you
I
going
think
to?
we probably have at least one on staff who would apply for that. If we posted that, I think we'd have one at least who would apply for it.
Yep.
We might end up having to recruit one from the outside, and if we were recruiting, certainly it would be easier to find someone with those skills if we were advertising carpenter as opposed to maintenance worker.
There's definitely one person within that crew that qualifies for that, and I would anticipate his application when you post something like that, you know, we post it throughout the city. Sometimes you get surprised, maybe there's somebody out there that has these skills that's interested in moving over, and we get another person from another department that wants to move over. I would anticipate that when we do the required internal posting, though, it's one applicant.
Okay.
What we could
So
do.
that has to happen first.
Yep, it's contractual that any CSEA job is posted at all locations, yep.
Right.
So in the winter, I'm gonna call it winter, but you know, November through March or so, that orange rectangle, part-time working supervisor, that there wouldn't be anyone there working.
Okay.
Same with the greens, they would be seasonal, so they would be not working during that time frame. So just go back to blue, which are the full-timers.
So this is gonna cost $64,000 more.
Yeah, when you do,
What are we gonna do about that?
when you do the math, that's what it comes out to be, that's including fringe benefits, you know, retirement, health insurance. What are we gonna do about that for 2026? That wouldn't require a budget transfer because we've had vacancies on this crew and will continue to have for a good chunk of the year, and it wouldn't be a budgetary issue this year, but looking at 2027 and beyond, figure $64,000 more, so we have to work that into our budget. Understanding that's the concern. You know, now I think is the time to talk about the structure of it. We've got 4 vacancies. We're trying to make sure we can be successful in what we're trying to do. But I understand that, you know, budgetarily, you have a 2027 budget discussion coming, so that is a factor to get considered.
And also, that's an estimate with health insurance right now, because we don't know who gets hired as far as what coverage they'll have. So it's
Right.
estimated at, you know, so
Okay.
if we hire a single person, it will be much less expensive.
Right.
So it seems to me we should put this on a discussion agenda because it has financial considerations. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that too. So the additional cost of this change is estimated to be 18,000 annually, so
Um,
to maintenance.
Well,
Yeah, and just
if you
to,
look there, it's 64,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of 3 paragraphs where I kind of broke down the different changes.
Right, I understand. You can't estimate exactly.
Mhm.
That's called an estimate, right?
Right. Does it make sense to you as far as the reasons for the proposed changes?
I understand,
I
but
do.
we're gonna have to consider what the council wants to do when it comes to spending more money. I don't think
Yeah.
the committee should just say, put it on the consent agenda without thoroughly discussing it and understanding the implications.
Understood.
I think if it would help, I can give you a little more background, specifically in the carpenter portion of it, which is the $18,000 portion. First I want to commend our existing staff, Walt and Sean, for the amount of work that they've been doing in the last year, and the fact that it is higher skilled labor than they're currently, at least the maintenance worker of the 2 of them is classified, the other one's a working supervisor. So they're already classified higher than a carpenter. But, you know, they did the reconstruction of the engineering suite. They did the fantastic work on the large pavilion down in Newell Park and doing all that work. And then also they did sorry, they did the, she didn't know I was in a meeting. They also did the Statue of Liberty, you know, and the refurbishment of the Statue of Liberty. So they really are doing skilled carpentry work. I think it's appropriate, it really makes a lot of sense to make sure that they're being properly, you know, classified for that work. And then, you know, as far as recruiting from the outside, a lot of times when we get applications, we're advertising for buildings and grounds workers or maintenance workers, and we'll get applications in, and we'll send it off to the supervisor, and the supervisor's like, well, I was really looking for something with a little more skilled carpentry work. So I told him, well, if that's what we're looking for, we need to advertise for that.
Yeah,
And
you
that's,
do too.
and that's really what comes down to the 2 reasons that we're looking for these 2 upgrades. And that I'm specifically just speaking of the $18,000 portion of this, which is the portion that is the cost of upgrading those 2 maintenance worker positions to carpenters, so.
And if we were to contract for the carpentry work, instead of having our employees do it, it would be much more expensive.
And I did notice in every pavilion, both Wilbur and Newell Park, brand new picnic tables in every pavilion.
The
In addition to-
structure's holding up the roof.
Yes, it's-
A lot of work was done.
It sure is.
You gotta know what you're doing when you do that.
So then the pay grade approximately,
So the carpenter is a position, we haven't used it in a very, very long time, but it is in the CSEA contract already.
okay.
It's already established, it's on the same pay grade as HEO, is that 6?
C5,
C5, yes, so,
starting 49,500 in
Okay.
2026.
yep. We did, we looked at the job spec, and it was older than me. So, Michelle in my office did do a major rewrite on it, and we have a nice shiny new job spec that's been approved by the commission to use, should we decide to fund these positions.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Well, I have to say that, this really helps us support our parks and recreation programs and facilities. I think it's really a good step forward for the parks. Because there's a lot that goes on down there. Now that I'm down there most days, every day, at different times of the day, I see all the work that goes in with the student workers, most of them I know, so and I'm thrilled to hear too that you want to increase the number of student workers. Those are youth employment jobs that our students need. So are they mostly high school students? I know.
Some high school and
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
and sometimes they go from high school to
So-
college and come back and work.
They really like it when I find a mix for them, so they have some starting, it staggers it through the
Yes,
summer, so we have some
yes.
starting in May,
Mhm.
and then leaving mid-August, and then high school students will stay all the way
Right.
right up to Labor Day. So they like it when I find a mix for them, which we were able to do this year. They are all Oneonta kids though, even the college students, all of them are the local kids that are doing it. And so, only one of the college students was new this year, the other two were ones that had started
Yes.
for us as high school students, and have just continued with us coming home for college. Yep.
So, you want to put that on the discussion?
Yes, I think, spending money, everybody should be aware of it and sign off on it.
Mhm.
It'll be spending money next year, really, but if the positions are filled. Okay, so let's move on to the capital improvement project, and this is for the Wall Street parking lot reconstruction. I've been walking around the parking lot a lot lately. It's, got a lot of patches.
Yeah, it's a little uneven.
Mhm.
So yeah, this one, we've previously set up this project budget. We have some updated quotes. We awarded a contract for sidewalk and curb replacement adjacent to the parking lot. We have some additional costs, and if you scroll down, flip over to page 11, that's got the current total project budget. And that's where it's showing the grand total, including a 10% contingency. So if there's any surprises that come up during construction, we need to change order for something we find, and we need to change additional quantities, wherever it might be, that would cover that. So the total would be $190,000. We had previously authorized $160,000, funded from the parking reserve, which has a balance of $550,000 roughly as of the end of 2025. So we've committed 160 of that. We're asking to adjust the budget to commit 190 to pay for the whole project.
Anything?
So we need to increase that by the 30,000.
We're
We
taking
may end
it
up
out of
spending
reserve
half.
fund,
Right.
so this is,
We need a contingency.
we had the money in
Yes,
reserve.
yes. Mhm.
So if we don't spend all of that, and we don't have any change orders, then whatever the balance is, will go back to the reserve.
Okay, got it.
Jacob or Gino, you had anything to add to that? These guys are from engineering. Chris isn't here. I don't know if you, have you met Jacob Welsh and Gino Huggins, by the way? I'm not sure if I've ever asked.
Hi,
We
Bill.
Jacob.
Hello,
Nice to
Jacob.
meet you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Well, also, this, I'm looking at that it will reduce long-term maintenance costs and working on stormwater management and all those, it just creates a much more welcoming environment when you are downtown and you live right around the corner from
I live just across the street. I walk through there all the time.
One other thing, it also will help traffic safety, because, you know, at the end of that corner of that parking lot, they go in and out. That's
Right,
gonna
you're
be,
gonna remove that
that's
curb
gonna be
cut.
blocked off,
Yeah, it's the curb cut is gonna go away, right?
yeah.
And then that wall, I keep calling it a wall, it's like a 3-foot curb, will be extended to the end of the parking lot as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you won't be able to hit our fire hydrant anymore.
So what, the work on the fire hydrant, somebody hit it, is that what happened?
Yeah,
They have in the past, yeah.
Did you find out who?
I don't believe so.
No.
Oh, goodness.
So, this could go on consent?
Yeah, I think so, yes. Mhm.
So, moving on to the capital improvement project, funding and contract approval, Hill Place and Lawn Avenue sidewalk and curb replacement.
All right, it's pretty self-explanatory what we're doing here, sidewalk and curb replacement. This time we need to award a contract to George Construction Services has submitted the low bid for that, $62,130. Just like the other sidewalk contracts we've awarded this year, DPW purchases the concrete, we do the excavation, removing the old sidewalk and curb, preparing the site, and then DeGeorge comes in and forms and pours the concrete. So 62,130 is not the entire cost. The entire cost is about $100,000. So what is needed from the council this time is to authorize awarding the contract, because that's based on a formal bid. And we had 2 bids on this
Two
one?
bids.
Correct. The second bid was much higher. And we also need council approval to increase the project budget by $100,000. We had previously set up a project budget for Hill Place, Lawn Ave, and Norton Ave, milling and paving, and that was $130,000 funded by CHIPS, one of our state funding sources. So we'd like to add another $100,000 for the sidewalk portion from CHIPS as well. So it doesn't affect the general fund budget, and it is something just like the Wall Street lot that was on our capital plan for this year. This is where we previously, last year, replaced the water main.
What was that?
Last year, we replaced the water mains on these dead end streets.
And in addition, this is, it will widen the street, and it will help our complete streets by making sidewalks wider, right? How much wider is the street gonna be?
The street's gonna be roughly 2 feet wider, and the sidewalks will be a foot wider.
Okay.
They
Where
weren't
does the
even-
extra space come from to make it wider?
Had to get easement. Where Jake was able,
I think it was the last council meeting, we had like, what are there, 15 of them, 12 of them, something like that,
I
10 or
think there's
12.
12.
We had a bunch of motions that all looked the same, that were to enter easement agreements with the homeowners to
Oh,
allow us to
yes.
use a little bit of their property. That's what that was.
And there will be sidewalks on both sides, or just
Correct.
one, both of them? Okay. Again, strengthens neighborhood, accessibility, walkability, which is certainly a part of our strategic plan and, comprehensive plan. So, yeah, I think this should go on consent.
Okay, put this on consent. All right, so that brings up to D, which is capital improvements project funding and contract approval, Ford Avenue, Silver Creek culvert replacement. We talked about this earlier, right?
briefly, yeah.
Yeah. So almost $1 million to, I guess it's as wide as Ford Avenue, right?
Right, it'll go from one side to the other on an angle there by the YMCA.
Right. It's very similar to what we did on Center Street and Clinton Street, same idea. Probably mostly the same, a little longer.
We've got the one on Main Street, same creek where it comes under Main Street and it goes underneath the City Hall parking lot. That is already underway, the design is, for that to be replaced. We funded that project budget, which is a little bit more than this one. I think that's $1,025,000. That was funded from the state touring route funds, which is another form of CHIPS, similar to CHIPS. This would be proposed to come from that same funding source, state touring route, STR.
So this is all state money that's gonna pay for this?
Right. course, the construction estimates are estimates right now, those numbers will change one way or the other when we go to bid, which would be 6 or 7 months from now, probably, winter would be the target. They did an RFP or RFQ, and Herman Engineering was the only response this time. They're the firm, you know, Herman Engineering from other projects we've done, they're a local firm, they're doing the other culvert now design, and they submitted a good.
We've done like 3 of these in the last few years, right? There was Main Street, there was a Center Street, and
Yeah.
the one, I forget what the name of that street is next to Spruce,
Yeah.
Clinton.
Mhm.
So is this in line with the cost of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
How long will it take?
Construction?
Yeah.
You know,
This
those
took,
were the one-
Well, what did the schedule
took like
say?
a whole construction season last time, right?
2 or 3 months, I think they did Center Street in. Right?
Yeah, these ones are a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but the scope is a little different than on Glenwood Creek on the east end of Main Street. That one took longer because they were replacing the entire thing. A little bit different and also more difficult because of how close they were to some of the buildings. I think these will go a little faster, but famous last words.
Yeah, it won't take too long once again, because we're not doing the walls in the bottom. We're just kind of replacing a deck, and we'll reinforce the walls probably from the outside, just like we did on Center Street. And then parge up the stone wall, and then put a new concrete deck over top of it. And I'm not sure, probably on these, we won't have the railing because it's open sidewalk there, so.
And you
But,
said the construction would begin in spring of 2027?
Probably not in spring.
Later.
We'll see how quickly the design gets done and get out to bid. Maybe that soon, but maybe more summer to
That would be
fall.
somewhat optimistic, but probably a little later in this summer.
Oh, even, okay.
And it'll depend on, we'll have to decide if we want to have that kind of disturbance downtown in the summer, or if we'd rather have it in the fall. With Wall Street reconstruction, we're waiting until September to start, so the tourist season where people are less familiar how to get around downtown, have access to the parking lot, but we're gonna have to impact at some point, so.
So I think that's important, that we try to avoid summer construction if possible, just for the reasons you mentioned.
To the extent practicable, we try to minimize the impacts, but,
If you don't do it in the summer, then you'll be in with the school bus trips and things like that, right?
yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
so
good
that-
time.
Yeah.
There isn't good.
Do you want this on consent or discussion?
I think it should go to consent, because this discussion, I recall before it was in council, I remember discussion on this.
Okay, we can put it on consent. The capital improvement project, this is number E. Funding and contract approval, Union Street, Spruce Street, Yeager Avenue, and Center Street sanitary sewer main replacement. So, this is on page, let's see,
Starts on 19.
19.
So this one is, as the name implies, what we bid was to replace the sewer main on Union Street from Olin Ave, which is a little, it's the kind of one lane but two-way street there, coming down to Spruce Street, and we would take a right on Spruce, and a left on Yeager, down Yeager, and one way, take a right on Center, and an end at the intersection of East Street. So we have to replace the sewer along that stretch, upsizing it, because it's too small now, given the water treatment plant backwash process. So when the water treatment plant does its backwashing, water comes down through the park, goes along that route, and at times it can overwhelm that system, and we've had some backups into basements. We've installed some backflow preventers for them,
Yep,
so they don't
yep,
have
yeah.
that issue, but we want to,
At the end of Union near Spruce, yep.
yeah. So this
So
one,
the alignment will be corrected with the, instead of flowing and going 90 degrees, we've got it with some little lesser angles, will help the flow. Because like you said, with the backwash combined with the pool backwash, if they both go at the same time, it's flooding
Oh, gee.
like crazy, so.
I know people who live at the Union and Spruce, and they've had issues and complaints about that, so yeah, this is probably much
been on our radar for a while.
Yes. Mhm.
We're getting to it. The other part of the projects, we did, as an alternate add, so we could award just the base bid, which is sewer main replacement, or we could award the base bid plus the alternate, which is to add the water main replacement on Jaeger Ave. We're not recommending doing that right now reluctantly, because as much as we'd like to replace as much water main as we can, we have very limited funds in the water fund. And this particular street is not a high priority, it doesn't have a ton of issues, and it's as old as any other 6-inch water main in the city, which is pretty old. But it's not one of our priorities as far as we look at our water system master plan, 4-inch water main replacement, and any critical water mains, like we'll talk, not tonight, but another time, about East Street. There's some other projects that are on the horizon that we need to make sure we have funding for. So while we'd love to do it, and if the council would like to do it, that's an option, we can award that, that's an additional
$600,000.
The total sewer project, we would budget 600,000, because the bid was 554. We would include some contingency and establish a sewer fund budget of 600. If we did the water, that'd be another $200,000, because the bid was 183. We'd have some contingency there.
So the 600,000, we would still have $2 million left in the fund, is that what I see?
Yes. Yes.
On Tuesday night, when I did the budget discussion, I suggested that 600,000 be transferred to the restricted reserves, because the sewer fund had a $600,000 surplus in '25.
I didn't hear that last part.
On Tuesday night, when I had the budget discussion, we talked about the sewer fund. In 2025, it had a surplus of over 600,000. I had recommended that 600,000 be transferred to the restricted funds, but with this project coming up, you'll see that Greg put in the narrative that that recommendation is now rescinded.
Okay.
And if we could use that 600,000 towards this
Yeah.
project.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that was the question I was gonna get to, about the rescinding part. Okay,
Yeah, so when we say rescind, there was no motion by council, we're just gonna pull our recommendation off.
No,
So
I-
we recommend use that money here.
thank you for the clarification.
So,
So-
no, I was just
Go
gonna ask,
ahead.
when would that project be?
After finance, or after common council, I think a notice of award would go out, and following a few weeks after that, we'd probably give you the notice to proceed once we get all the contract in, and we'll start this summer. And the idea of having 75 days to complete, is a little tight,
Yeah.
so we wanna get it done before the paving plant's closed, so that's the goal.
What happens if they close before you
If for
finish?
some reason we can't, we do have built-in a winter shutdown, and we'd have to live with the street being pressure run or something, cold patch or something over the winter. We're hoping not to do that, but
So it'd be a temporary
yeah,
payment?
until the spring, and then when the plants open back up, we get back in there and finish it.
Consent?
Mhm.
So this will be on consent? Okay, number F, capital improvement project, contract approval, capital improvement project. This is for the airport partial parallel taxiway A, runway 24, phase 1 construction. So this is on,
So this one, the council, it was May 5th this year, council approved the project and authorized the grant application to the FAA. The way FAA grant applications work, we get formal bids first, and then we submit the application, so we know the actual construction cost. So we've been holding on to those bids, waiting for FAA to approve and award the money. They've done that, the grant agreement's been executed, we're ready to move forward with construction, so now we need council approval to sign a contract with upstate companies. They were the low bid. Their bid was $3,349,225. And then CACO is Construction Administration and Construction Observation. That's where we hire an engineer, our airport engineers, Pastor Associates, to observe the work and document everything. And that contract, which was, that number was provided before the grant application as well. And the way that works, we do every 5 or so years, we do an RFQ for airport consultants. We select one. Passero is our current airport consultant, and then we have projects, specific projects come up. They give us a proposal for the scope of work, what they're gonna do, cost, and then we hire a separate engineering firm to review their proposal and tell us whether it's reasonable as far as the cost goes. So that was done, so we're not, rest assured, we're not overpaying, we're underpaying and expecting big change orders. So that number is 802,000. So those combined result in the $3.956 million budget, or sorry, $4.164 million. 95% of project costs are covered by the FAA grant. State grant is 2.5%, or $104,119, and the city's local share is the same 2.5%, $104,119. That would be funded in this case by the city's general fund, unrestricted fund balance. And again, all of that's been, all of the funding has been committed with the motion back in May, and now we're just awarding the contracts. I would put on the agenda a motion to establish the capital project budget, because the numbers that are awarded are a little bit lower than the numbers we approved in May, so just to make sure that everything is.
You would recommend what?
I'll put a motion on the budget in addition to awarding the contracts. I'll say the council establishes a capital project budget for this and lists the different numbers, because they're a little different than the grant application. They're actually a little lower.
Okay.
Okay. So there's 2 items for the airport, and together they're, the city would be paying like $110,000 between the 2. There's the road and the taxiway.
Right, the second one, the road, that's the design phase.
Wait a minute, let me just, before you get into the road. So we're going ahead, the idea of doing this is to go ahead with these 2 projects, but we still don't have agreements with the property owners on the trees. So,
I'm concerned about that also, what the connection would be between these 2 projects and that issue that is still.
There's no, they're not interdependent.
they're, well, I disagree. The road change is not dependent, but if we spend a lot of money on the taxiway, and then for some reason, the tree removal thing goes on for years and years, which it might not, we don't know. I would like to, I don't mind going ahead with the road, which would be $5,079 that we would be committing. But I would like to have the council discuss the taxiway in the discussion agenda.
I just want to point out, that's fine to put on a discussion agenda, to discuss it, but council's already approved and committed these funds to FAA. So it's not like we can back out what we've already committed to.
I understand that, but I still, I don't want to approve this without another discussion.
Or
Is that,
we could put it on consent, and if someone wants to.
well, I'll remove it then.
Okay.
I just want it to be discussed again, because I know there's a lot of concern about the trees. I'm not against the airport having a taxiway. It's a complicated thing. There's 2 parts to it. And there's removing we'd have to build new hangars and all. It's a complicated project. So, and it's expensive. So my recommendation would be that we put the roadway on consent and the taxiway on discussion.
Okay,
Is that okay with you?
yeah, it's big because you would pull it otherwise.
I would, because I want the council to be aware of what we're doing there. And because I know some council members don't want to do anything at the airport until we get the tree situation settled.
But I think we're under the gun with FAA.
I'm sure it'll pass, but I just want it to be
Okay.
discussed again, that's all.
Okay.
You know,
for this, so, it happened, so,
Right, okay, got that?
So which is,
So the roadway, the last one on the, that goes to consent, and the one with the taxiway goes to discussion. And I'm well aware of the deadlines and all of that, so, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of choice, but I think the council should be
okay,
just
fair enough.
duke it out again. Okay,
Good with both of them?
what's that?
You're good with both of them?
Yeah, one
No
would be,
discussion, one consent.
right, and, the only comment I'd have is, costs so much to move a road. And as I've said in the past, I understand why we're moving the road, but it's not in bad shape. It's getting like 2 cars a week. There are many streets in the city of Oneonta that are much worse. Okay, so, we've got that done, and then we have a closed session topics, right?
Yes.
So does that mean everybody's gonna leave?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You wouldn't mind just